When did you last experience true silence? Not the absence of sound, but the presence of nothing demanding your attention. Not the quiet between songs on your playlist, but the profound emptiness where your soul can finally breathe. If you're struggling to remember, you've discovered why we're living through a crisis of the spirit that no amount of therapy, medication, or self-help can cure. We have declared war on silence, and in winning that war, we have lost ourselves. Byung-Chul Han recognized that our modern condition isn't just noisy, it's violently, aggressively anti-silence. We've created a world where every moment must be filled, every second must produce something, every pause must be eliminated. We carry devices that ensure we're never alone with our thoughts, never confronted with the vast quietude that once shaped human consciousness. But silence isn't empty. It's full, pregnant with possibilities we've forgotten how to access. Think about the last time you sat in your car without immediately turning on music, a podcast, or making a phone call. The discomfort you felt wasn't boredom, it was withdrawal. We've become addicted to noise the way others become addicted to substances. The constant stimulation has become our drug, and silence has become our deepest fear. Han understood that this fear isn't accidental. Silence forces us to confront what we spend our lives avoiding, ourselves. In the quiet, we can't escape our anxieties, our regrets, our unfulfilled longings. We can't hide behind the comfortable distractions that keep us from facing the fundamental questions of existence. Who am I when stripped of all the noise? What do I truly want? What am I running from? Ancient wisdom traditions knew that silence was medicine. Monks retreated into it. Philosophers sought it. Artists cultivated it. They understood that in the space between thoughts, between words, between breaths, something sacred could emerge. Not emptiness, but fullness. Not absence, but presence. We've replaced this wisdom with what Han calls the violence of positivity. The compulsive need to fill every void with content, every pause with productivity, every silence with sound. We've convinced ourselves that quiet equals death, that stillness equals stagnation, that silence equals nothingness. But notice what happens in those rare moments when silence breaks through. When your Wi-Fi goes down and you can't immediately distract yourself. When you wake at 3 a.m. and the world is finally still. When you're walking and forget to put in your earbuds. There's a moment of panic, yes, but then something else, a settling, a deepening, a return to something you didn't know you'd lost. Han reveals that silence isn't the absence of something. It's the presence of everything we've been too distracted to notice. In silence, we discover that we're not just consumers of experience, but creators of meaning. Not just reactors to stimuli, but beings capable of profound inner life. The modern world offers us 1,000 ways to avoid this encounter with ourselves. Social media provides endless scrolling. Streaming services offer infinite content. Podcasts fill every commute. Music accompanies every activity. We've created a soundscape so dense that silence has become nearly extinct. But this constant noise isn't neutral. It shapes us, programs us, colonizes our consciousness. We begin to think in the rhythm of notifications, to feel in the tempo of advertisements, to dream in the language of algorithms. We lose access to our own thoughts because we can no longer hear them above the manufactured din. Han warns that we're not just losing silence, we're losing the capacity for silence. Our brains, rewired by constant stimulation, forget how to be still. We develop what he calls attention residue, the inability to fully focus on one thing because part of our mind is always reaching for the next distraction, the next hit of dopamine, the next escape from the present moment. Children today are growing up without ever experiencing profound quiet. They sleep to white noise, wake to alarms, eat to background music, play to soundtracks, study to playlists. They're being raised in acoustic prisons, never learning that silence isn't something to be filled, but something to be inhabited. Yet silence remains our birthright. It's where creativity is born, where wisdom emerges, where healing happens. In the quiet, we reconnect with rhythms older than civilization, the rhythm of our heartbeat, our breathing, the pulse of life itself. We remember that we're not just information processors, but living beings connected to something larger than our individual experience. The recovery of silence isn't about creating perfect quiet. It's about learning to find stillness within the noise. It's about discovering that the most profound silence isn't external, but internal. It's the space between thoughts, the pause between breaths, the moment of pure awareness before the mind begins its endless commentary. This is revolutionary in a world that profits from our distraction, that needs our constant attention to function. To choose silence is to reclaim your consciousness from the forces that want to colonize it. To embrace quiet is to assert that your inner life matters more than your productivity, that your soul's health is more important than your efficiency. Start small. Turn off the car radio for one drive. Eat one meal without entertainment. Sit for 5 minutes without doing anything. Notice the resistance, the urge to reach for your phone, the anxiety that rises in the absence of distraction. This discomfort is the withdrawal symptom of a noise addiction you didn't know you had. But beyond the discomfort lies something our ancestors knew, and we've forgotten. In silence, we come home to ourselves. We remember who we are beneath all the roles we play, all the content we consume, all the noise we've mistaken for life. The remedy for our fractured souls isn't more information, more stimulation, more connection to the digital world. It's the radical return to the silence that's always been there, waiting patiently for us to remember its healing power. In a world that has forgotten how to be quiet, choosing silence isn't just self-care, it's an act of rebellion, a return to what makes us most deeply human.